Hello and welcome to Program Guru. In this tutorial you will learn how to use if, else and else if statements in TypeScript. Programs often need to make decisions. The code that runs may depend on a value, a comparison, or whether a condition is true or false. Let us say that we are building a small program for an online store. The store needs to decide whether an order qualifies for free delivery. It also needs to decide which discount should be applied. We will continue with this same order example throughout most of the lesson. First, we will use an if statement to handle one condition. Then, we will add an else statement to handle the opposite outcome. After that, we will use else if statements to handle multiple discount levels. Let us begin. Our program first needs an order amount. Let us create a variable named order amount. An order amount is a numeric value. Therefore, we will give this variable the number type. For the first test, let us use an order amount of $120. Then, we will print the value so that we can see the current order amount. Save the program. Compile the TypeScript program. Run the generated JavaScript file. Observe the output. The program displays the current order amount. At this point, the program only stores and prints a value. It does not make any decision. Now, let us add the first requirement. The store provides free delivery when the order amount is at least $100. This means that we need to check whether order amount is greater than or equal to 100. If that condition is true, the program should display a free delivery message. For this kind of one-way decision, we can use an if statement. An if statement checks a condition. When the condition is true, the code inside the if block runs. When the condition is false, that code block is skipped. Let us first look at the basic syntax. The if keyword begins a statement. The condition is written inside parentheses. The code that depends on the condition is written inside curly braces. Now let us construct the condition for our order program. The requirement says that free delivery is available when the order amount is at least $100. The phrase at least 100 means 100 or any value above 100. Therefore, we need the greater than or equal to operator. The condition becomes order amount greater than or equal to 100. When this condition is true, we want to display a message. We can place the console log statement inside the if block. After the if statement, we will also display a second message. This second message will help us see that the program continues after the if statement. Let us understand what should happen before running the program. The value of order amount is 120. The condition checks whether 120 is greater than or equal to 100. That condition is true. Therefore, the code inside the if block should run. After that, execution should continue with the console log statement after the if block. Save the program. Compile the TypeScript program. Run the generated JavaScript file. As you can observe in the output, the free delivery message is displayed. This happens because the condition is true. The final message is also displayed because it is outside the if block. It runs after the if statement has finished. Let us trace this execution step by step. First, order amount is assigned the value 120. Then, the program reaches the if statement. It compares order amount with 100. The condition is true. Therefore, the if block runs. After the block finishes, execution continues below the if statement. Now let us test the same program with a smaller order. Change the order amount from 120 to 75. The free delivery requirement remains unchanged. The condition also remains unchanged. Only the value stored in order amount changes. Before running the program, let us evaluate the condition. The value of order amount is 75. The condition checks whether 75 is greater than or equal to 100. That condition is false. Therefore, the code inside the if block should be skipped. The statement after the if block should still run. Save the program. Compile the TypeScript program. Run the generated JavaScript file. Observe the output. The free delivery message does not appear. This happens because the condition is false. The program skips the if block. The if statement is useful when code should run only for a true condition. However, our program now has a limitation. When the order does not qualify for free delivery, the program does not explain that delivery charges apply. We need one result when the condition is true and another result when it is false. To handle both outcomes, we can use an if-else statement. An if-else statement provides two possible code blocks. The if block runs when the condition is true. The else block runs when the condition is false. Only one of these blocks runs during a single execution. Let us look at the syntax. Same as the if statement, but in addition we will have else block. Else part follows the if part. It starts with else keyword and then the else code block in curly braces. In our example, the first outcome is free delivery. The second outcome is that delivery charges apply. The condition remains order amount greater than or equal to 100. The existing if block also remains unchanged. Inside the else block, we will display a delivery charge message. The order amount is 75. The condition 75 greater than or equal to 100 is false. Therefore, the if block should be skipped. The else block should run. After that, the final console log statement should run. Save the program. Compile the TypeScript program. Run the generated JavaScript file. Observe the output. The program displays the delivery charge message. This happens because the condition is false. Since the if block does not run, the else block runs instead. The program then continues after the complete if-else statement. Let us trace this execution. The program checks only one condition. Because that condition is false, the else block runs. Now let us test the opposite result. Change the order amount back to 120. The condition, if block, else block, and final statement remain unchanged. The condition now checks whether 120 is greater than or equal to 100. The condition is true. Therefore, the if block should run. The else block should be skipped. Save the program. Compile and run it. The free delivery message appears because the condition is true. When the if block runs, the else block is skipped. Let us also test the exact boundary value. The store provides free delivery when the order amount is at least $100. This means that an order amount of exactly $100 should qualify. Change the order amount to 100. The condition becomes 100 greater than or equal to 100. That condition is true because both values are equal. Compile and run the program. The order qualifies for free delivery. This is why we used greater than or equal to instead of only greater than. The delivery decision has exactly two outcomes. Either the order qualifies for free delivery or delivery charges apply. An if-else statement is enough for that requirement. Now let us add a separate discount requirement. The store applies different discounts based on the order amount. Orders of $200 or more receive a 20% discount. Orders of $100 or more receive a 10% discount. Orders below $100 receive no discount. We now have three possible outcomes. A simple if-else statement provides only two branches. Therefore, we need another conditional branch. We can add one or more else-if blocks between the if block and the else block. Let us look at the syntax. The conditions are checked from top to bottom. The program begins with the if condition. If that condition is true, its block runs. The remaining else, if and else branches are skipped. If the first condition is false, the program checks the first else if condition. If that condition is true, its block runs. The remaining branches are skipped. If all conditions are false, the else block runs. Let us build the discount program from the requirements. The highest discount is 20%. It applies when the order amount is at least $200. Therefore, the first condition should be order amount greater than or equal to 200. The next discount is 10%. It applies when the order amount is at least $100. Therefore, The second condition should be order amount greater than or equal to 100. If neither condition is true, the order amount must be below 100. In that case, no discount is available. We can handle that final outcome with an else block. For the first test, let us use an order amount of $150. Before running the program, let us trace the conditions. The order amount is 150. The first condition checks whether 150 is greater than or equal to 200. That condition is false. Therefore, the first block is skipped. The program then checks the else if condition. It checks whether 150 is greater than or equal to 100. That condition is true. Therefore, the 10% discount block runs. The else block is skipped. Save the program. Compile the TypeScript program. Run the generated JavaScript file. Observe the output. The program displays the 10% discount message. This happens because the first condition is false and the second condition is true. Once the program finds a true condition, it runs that block and skips the remaining branches. Now let us test an order amount of $250. Only the value of order amount needs to change. The conditions and messages remain unchanged. The first condition checks whether 250 is greater than or equal to 200. That condition is true. Therefore, the first block runs. The else if condition is not checked. The else block is also skipped. Save the program. Compile and run it. The 20% discount is selected because the first condition is true. Even though 250 is also greater than 100, the second condition is never reached. Only the first matching branch runs. Now let us test an order amount of $60. Again, only the value of order amount needs to change. The first condition checks whether 60 is greater than or equal to 200. That condition is false. The program checks the second condition. It checks whether 60 is greater than or equal to 100. That condition is also false. No true condition was found. Therefore, the else block runs. Save the program. Compile the TypeScript program. Run the generated JavaScript file. Observe the output. The else block handles every value that did not match the earlier conditions. That means every order amount below $100. The order of conditions is important in an if-else if statement. The program checks conditions from top to bottom. When it finds the first true condition, it runs that branch and skips the remaining branches. We have now completed both requirements separately. The first conditional statement decides whether the order qualifies for free delivery. The second conditional statement decides which discount applies. We will use an order amount of $150. The order qualifies for free delivery because it is at least $100. It also qualifies for a 10% discount because it is at least $100, but below $200. Save the program. Compile the TypeScript program. Run the generated JavaScript file. Observe the output. The first conditional statement checks the delivery requirement. 150 is greater than or equal to 100. Therefore, the free delivery branch runs. The second conditional statement checks the discount levels. 150 is not greater than or equal to 200. Therefore, the first discount branch is skipped. 150 is greater than or equal to 100. Therefore, the 10% discount branch runs. Finally, the program continues after both conditional statements and displays the completion message. Let us now look at a few shorter examples. In this example, the program decides whether a score is a passing score. A score of 40 or more is considered a pass. We need two outcomes. Therefore, an if-else statement is suitable. The score is 72. 72 is greater than or equal to 40. Therefore, the if block runs. Save the program. Compile the TypeScript program. Run the generated JavaScript file. In this example, the program classifies a person as an adult, teenager, or child. There are 3 outcomes. Therefore, we can use if, else if, and else. The adult condition must come first because it uses the larger age threshold. The first condition checks whether 16 is greater than or equal to 18. That condition is false. The second condition checks whether 16 is greater than or equal to 13. That condition is true. Therefore, the program displays teenager. Save the program. Compile the TypeScript program. Run the generated JavaScript file. An if statement checks a condition. The if block runs when its condition is true. When the condition is false, the if block is skipped. An else block provides an alternative for a false condition. In an if-else statement, only one of the 2 branches runs. An else-if block allows the program to check another condition. An if-else-if statement can handle more than 2 outcomes. Conditions are checked from top to bottom. The first branch with a true condition runs. The remaining branches in that conditional chain are skipped. The else block runs when all earlier conditions are false. The order of conditions is important. That is how you use if, else, and else-if statements in TypeScript. That would be all for TypeScript conditional statements in this lesson. Thank you for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to our channel for more TypeScript tutorials.